Hi and welcome everyone to another video. My name is Denis and today I'm going to show you a wildcard draft for Gaming 22 Fantasy Premier League, but now let's just jump straight into it. Okay guys, so as I said before, today I'm going to show you a wildcard draft for Gaming 22 of Fantasy Premier League, and as always, if you don't need to use your wildcard, please don't do it because again, there isn't a right or wrong time to use your wildcard, but again, if your team needs it, I prepared here a video looking into the best wildcard picks. Now, as always, this is a wildcard draft I can afford. If you don't really afford exactly the same type of players, you can just make some swaps. We're going to discuss about everything today. We're going to discuss about the best picks. And before saying something about my wildcard, like 3 Chelsea players here, I'm going to try to explain myself in a minute. Sorry also for the voice. I'm a little bit sick. That's why the less of content in the weeks, in the last week. But we're going to take a look. As you can see, I can afford this team. We're going to discuss about the main things. So if you really need to use your wildcard, straight up, I think that I would go with 3 Arsenal players. We're going to discuss about every pick I picked here. Now, with Arsenal, it's easy. I would just go double Arsenal defense and one attacker, which is going to be Rice. Again, if you have Bukayo Saka into your team, there's no rush to sell him. I still think that he's an okay pick to keep, again, if you're not using your wildcard. But if I was using the wildcard right now, this is how I would go. I think that this is the best trio from Arsenal. Gabriel, again, is a locked on any team. Even if you're not wildcarding, I would suggest you try to buy Gabriel as fast as possible. Other than that, I would go for Timber. Saliba, again, every player has pros and cons. Timber could be rested in some games, yes, of course, but again, Saliba is not amazing for defensive contributions. Calafiori just can't stay fit, so I think that Timber is the best second Arsenal defender. I wouldn't go for Raya for sure. And Rice, I just think that he's way better value than Bukayo Saka. He's good for DEFCON, he's on some set pieces, he's good for getting bonus points, so I just think that, yeah, this would be the trio from Arsenal, and yeah, this is easy. That should be everyone who's wildcarding. Other than that, let's talk a little bit about the goalkeepers. I'm going here with Verbruggen and Dubravka. If you have more money than me, you could go for a double up of Verbruggen and someone like Kelleher to rotate those cheap goalkeepers, but I can't really afford that, and I'm just going with Verbruggen and Dubravka. Kelleher is another option in that spot, but the fixtures for Brentford, as you can see here from Thiago, are pretty horrible for any defenders. I wouldn't go for any defender from Brentford. Honestly, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest at home is fine, but then it's Aston Villa, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Brighton in Gaming 27. So I don't see a lot of clean sheets, honestly, for a team like Brentford. And then let's discuss a little bit about Chelsea, because maybe this is a little bit controversial, but what I wanted to try with this wildcard, this is how I would be using the wildcard if I would be activating the chip in Gaming 22. Again, is this the safest option to go with 3 Chelsea players? Probably not, but because of the fixtures, this is how I would go probably. And therefore, again, in my own team, I'm not using the wildcard. I'm going to try maybe to buy someone like Palmer, to sell someone like Thiago. So therefore, I just think that I would have 3 Chelsea players on the wildcard, because that's where I aspire for my own team, to have 3 Chelsea players at least by Gaming 24. Brentford, Crystal Palace away is not amazing, but then West Ham, Wolverhampton, Leeds, and Burnley at home. Again, you need to have some Chelsea players for that run. So therefore, in defense, you could go for someone like Sanchez. If you don't want to go for Chaloba, Sanchez is also fine. You can have another defender there. We're going to discuss about other picks also you could include into your wildcard. But talking about defenders, Reece James, I just wouldn't trust him to start all the games. Gusto, the same. Tosin, Adarabioyo, other defenders from Chelsea. I just think that Chaloba is probably the safest one. He's decent for defensive contributions, as we know, and also he has some attacking threat. He scored some goals this season. Now, again, I think that he's with Chelsea also, they have a new manager, so I understand why. Maybe if you don't want to go for 3 Chelsea players, that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to go for any Chelsea players, that's perfectly fine. But anyhow, wherever manager is going to be at Chelsea, I just want to have some players for those fixtures, because that's how I play FPL. That's the type of person I am. I like to target the fixtures, and I can't. go without Chelsea players. Now, in midfield, is it a little bit more of a debate? Definitely, you don't need to go for both Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez. If you want to go just for one, probably I would go for Enzo Fernandez. But as I said before, I'm going to try to buy Palmer for my own team. So therefore, I think that it is just right to include him on a wildcard. If I would be wildcarding, definitely I would go take that chance with Cole Palmer. Because for an example, maybe you have someone like Bukayo Saka. I just think that again, Saka could be still on penalties. He's going to share the penalties with Gyökeres, but Will Palmer, if he's going to get the minutes, you know that he's going to be on the penalties, on some set pieces. The only problem with Cole Palmer is he going to play all those games? I'm not so sure at the moment, honestly. I can't really say guarantee you that Cole Palmer is going to play 90 minutes in all those fixtures because that's not true. Probably that's not going to happen, right? But I'm willing to take that risk. If you're willing to take that risk, Cole Palmer is a huge differential. As you can see, his ownership here is 12%. But again, from the active managers, I think that that's even lower than that. So I just think that he's a great option. Enzo Fernandez, I think that definitely I would have him on the wildcard. With the new manager, it seems that Enzo Fernandez is going to play as a number 10, and that's just good news for him. He's not going to get a lot of defensive contributions, but Enzo Fernandez has really good statistics. At that price, honestly, 6.4 millions, I don't think that you can go that wrong with him. As I said before, the fixtures are great. So Chaloba and Enzo, or Sanchez and Enzo if you want a goalkeeper from Chelsea. I think that I would go for at least two Chelsea players on the wildcard. Cole Palmer, I need to be honest, if you don't want to take that risk, it's okay to go without him. I totally understand it. Other than that, Bruno Fernandes again would be on my wildcard. A lot of people, myself included, have players like Mateusz Cunha, and we're going to buy Bruno Fernandes by Gaming 24, the latest. Now again, if you're wildcarding, I just think that you should use this opportunity to just have Bruno Fernandes. I know the next two fixtures are not great, Man City, Arsenal away, but Bruno Fernandes is a player you're most likely going to want to have in your team for the future because he's going to play as a number 10 with the new manager. I think that Michael Carrick is going to be the new manager, but anyway, whichever manager is going to come to Manchester United, I think that Bruno Fernandes is going to play a more advanced role, and that's just good news for him and for us in FPL. Other than that, Haaland again, who I don't need to discuss about Haaland. He would be definitely on my wildcard team. My other defenders are Alderete. I think that I would go for a cheap defender. And again, if you have the money to go for Mukiele 4.4, I think that he's still okay. Even if he's going to play as a right back, he's still okay for defensive contributions. But just because I can't afford him here on my team, and just to save that 0.3 million, I think that it's okay to go for Alderete. I have him in my own team. He's great for defensive contributions. Sunderland are a good defense at home. So yeah, Munoz, again, another controversial pick maybe. If he's going to be fit, I don't know, for this gaming 22, I would play him definitely instead of someone like Tavernier or instead of someone like Thiago. Again, there are some rumors that he's going to be fit. If somehow he's not going to be fit for, I don't know, we get the news that he's going to be still out for 1 month or two, definitely you don't need to have Munoz in your wildcard. But if he's going to be available, again, I like the Crystal Palace defense. I just think that Daniel Munoz is the best defender to own from Crystal Palace and one of the best defenders to own in FPL. I had him before his injury. He was amazing for me. Now, the next fixtures are not great. Sunderland away, Chelsea, Forest, Brighton. Again, after Gaming 23, Forest, Brighton, Burnley at home, Wolverhampton at home. The fixtures are great for Palace, and I think that he's just the best option to go from Crystal Palace, and I would have him on my wildcard. But as I said before, if he's likely to be out for more time, then you can go for other defenders. Krupi Juniors, if you want to go for Barnes to just save the money, if you want to go for Mane from Wolverhampton, that's also perfectly fine. But Krupi Juniors, with Cliver being out, he just got a surgery, so he's going to be out for a long period of time. Semenyo transfer to Manchester City, I just think that his minutes are going to be great. His attacking threat is going to be great, and at 4.6 millions, honestly, you can't really ask for more for that kind of player. So yeah, I really like him. The fixtures also for Bournemouth are going to be pretty good from Gaming 24 onwards. Tavernier, again, these players you don't need to play every gaming, right? Tavernier, Krupi Juniors, Alderete, even someone like Thiago, if you want to play him against Arsenal or against Chelsea away, I think that's perfectly fine. But Tavernier, the same. The fixtures are going to be great for Bournemouth. He's likely to be on penalties. He's likely to play as a number 10 or on the right, maybe. The same. Semenyo out, Cliver out. His mates are going to be good. He's okay, I guess, for defensive contributions. He's on some set pieces. I think that at that price, 5.5 million is great. If you want to go for someone like Elliot Anderson, who's better definitely for defensive contributions, that's also perfectly fine. But I think that on a wildcard, I would go for Tavernier. So yeah, I think that we talked about every pick, right? Now, again, let's discuss a little bit about other options. On the goalkeepers, you can go for Raya if you want. Arsenal are maybe likely to have a double gimmick at some point. Raya is definitely more safer to play 2 games than Timber, but I just think that he's not worth the value. Definitely, if you're wildcarding right now, 5.9 million seems a little bit too much for me. Sanchez could be an option if you want to go instead of Verbruggen. Other than that, Ruffs is okay, but at that price, I would just go Sanchez probably. Alisson Becker, I definitely wouldn't go there. Donnarumma, I just don't think that he's worth the value, 5.7 millions. Pickford is okay, but 5.6 millions, yeah, probably not. The features are not even that great for Everton. So yeah, with the goalkeepers, that's it basically. With the defenders, as I said before, Gabriel Timber. If you want to go for a Spurs defender, I guess the next two fixtures are great, West Ham and Burnley away, but after that, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Arsenal, yeah, just not that amazing. And remember, guys, if you're using your wildcard, this is your second wildcard, so you need these players long term. That's why I have the picks like Bruno Fernandes, Palmer, Enzo, again Haaland, Gabriel, Timber. These players are going to stay in your team for a long period of time. The same with Daniel Munoz, because you could just go for someone like Richards, who's 1 million more cheaper than Munoz, something like that. But again, I think that if you want to have a Crystal Palace defender, Munoz is probably the best, your best option. Malik Chow is okay, Wolverhampton, but then Aston Villa, Liverpool, Brentford. Again, that's why probably I wouldn't go there. Hincapie, definitely not. James, I talked about him. Senesi, actually, he could be a great shout after Gaming 24. Maybe Aston Villa, Wolverhampton, Everton, West Ham, Sunderland. The fixtures are going to get better for Bournemouth, as we talked before. But yeah, 4.8 millions. Yeah, if you want to go for Senesi instead of Chaloba, I guess that could be also okay. O'Reilly, again, is decent. Mateus Nunes is decent. But with Man City defenders, just be aware that Guardiola is going to be out probably for the rest of the season. Ruben Diaz is out for a month or something like that. Their defense is not going to be great. The fixtures are not amazing. Besides Wolverhampton at home, it's Man United, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, Leeds away. Again, I'm just not sure if I would go for a City defender, but if you want to go there, probably O'Reilly. Again, Virgil van Dijk, the next fixture is great against Burnley at home. I think that he's amazing for that fixture, but after that, yeah, I just don't think that he's worth the value. Anderson is another pick I didn't discuss. Leeds, Brighton, Man United, Everton, Man City. Again, at that price, he's great value, 4.6 million, because with Anderson, you know that he's going to get defensive contributions. That's why I have the players like Alderete. At 4.1 millions, he's likely, if you need to play him, he's going to get 3 or 4 points at the minimum, probably something like that. So again, that's why I like these defensive contribution players. Other than that, as I said before, I wouldn't go for Collins. Lacroix is okay, but 5.1 millions, I think that you can have other options. Rodon for 3.9, if you can't afford this draft, is also okay. Matty Cash. So Villa players, we're going to discuss also a little bit about them. Villa players are okay because the fixtures are decent. They are a good team, obviously. Everton, Newcastle, Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Leeds, Wolverhampton. So long term, the fixtures are great. If you want to go for someone like Cash for 4.8 millions, he has that occasional shot where he's going to score some goals. He's not good for defensive contributions. So yeah, again, he's a decent pick. He's a decent pick if you want to go for him on a wild card. Richard is also okay. And yeah, I think that we gone with pretty much everyone. I wouldn't go for Man United. I wouldn't go for Nottingham Forest. Wolverhampton, definitely. West Ham, Everton. Again, you could go for someone like Tarkovsky, but the fixtures are just not amazing. Aston Villa away, Brighton away, Fulham away in the next four, three away fixtures, which are not easy fixtures. And in midfield, I feel like we have a little bit more options. If you want to go a little bit different, Foden, I think that he's still great for the next two. I'm going to keep Foden for the next two. Then probably I'm going to move myself to someone like Bruno Fernandes and sell Foden. But if you still want to go for Foden on a wild card, he's still likely to get good minutes. He's still a Man City player. He's still going to get some attacking returns. But I understand he has 5 blanks or something like that. So probably on a wild card, I wouldn't go for Foden, but the next two you need to be aware that are pretty decent. He has some good returns, usually against Man United, and then it's Wolverhampton at home. Long term, yeah, probably I wouldn't have Foden. Bruno Guimaraes, probably a player who a lot of people are going to say to me why he's not in your wild card. Again, the next one, Wolverhampton away is a decent fixture. Then Aston Villa, Liverpool, Spurs, Man City, Everton, Brentford. The fixtures are okay. Bruno Guimaraes is okay. Now, if Gordon and Voldemort are not going to be on the pitch, he's going to be on the penalties. But how likely are that both Gordon and Voldemort are not going to be on the pitch? He's on set pieces. He's decent for defensive contributions, but again, he's just not my pick. If you want to go for him on a wild card, fair enough. But I just personally, I think that Enzo Fernandez, with one less million to pay for Enzo Fernandez, I think that he may be a better pick over the next 6 game weeks than Bruno Guimaraes. Again, that's just my opinion. Gakpo, short term, yeah, sure. I think that he's okay. Mbeumo is going to be back from AFCON, but yeah, I wouldn't have him for the next two, definitely. Other than that, Rogers, as I said before, 7.6 million. I think that he's a little bit too much money for what he offers. Now, I have Rogers in my team, and I'm just going to keep him because I like that he's likely to play 90 minutes every game week, but the returns are not going to be huge for Rodgers. Again, the next two fixtures for Aston Villa are great. When Aston Villa are scoring, he's likely to be involved because obviously he plays 90 minutes. But again, he's not such an exciting pick, and I just think that for that price, I just think that maybe someone like Declan Rice is better than Rodgers, honestly, and he's much more cheaper. Even someone like Tavernier, who's on penalties, on set pieces, could be better value than Rodgers, definitely. Wirtz, I wouldn't go there. Anderson, as I said before, I have him in my team, 5.3 millions. I think that he's really good. I think that he's a really good pick because he's getting 444 and the occasional 7 points every game week because he's really good for defensive contributions. The fixtures are okay for Anderson. You don't really care about the fixtures, honestly, with a player like Elliot Anderson. If he's going to get defensive contributions, you're looking at a 4-pointer. If he's going to chip up with an assist or something, he's likely also to get some bonus points. So yeah, I just think that he's a great pick. If you want to go there, Turkey, I just think that I wouldn't. Now they have Semenyo. Marmoush is going to came back at some point from AFCON. I think that there's a lot of competition. Semenyo the same. I wouldn't go there. So yeah, Harry Wilson, again, another amazing value pick. If you want to go there, 5.9 millions, he's great value. Leeds away is not amazing. Brighton at home is not amazing. Man United away is okay. But Harry Wilson scored against Chelsea, against Liverpool. So again, we know that he can do it. Everton, City, Sunderland, Spurs. Yeah, if you want to go for Harry Wilson, I think that it's okay. I prefer my midfield, honestly. Tavernier, Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Palmer, Enzo. Now, if you can include someone like Harry Wilson instead of Tavernier, fair enough. Probably I would do that. But Tavernier also, I like him. So again, it's close. I like Wilson. I like Wilson as a pick, definitely for that price. And pretty much that's it. Jeremy Pino, Tavernier, Caicedo, I wouldn't go there. Grealish, I wouldn't go there. Paqueta is going to move from West Ham, so maybe Bowen is going to be on penalties for anyone interested, or if you still have Bowen into your team. So pretty much that's it. Now, in the last part, I want to discuss a little bit about the forwards. Now, there isn't a lot to discuss here. In my own team, I'm looking to sell Thiago to Krupi Juniors and to sell Cunha to Palmer. Now, on a wildcard, I would be open to go without Igor Thiago, honestly, because the fixtures for Brentford are pretty horrible. Honestly, again, I think that after Haaland, probably Thiago is the best striker to own in FPL, but that doesn't mean that you can't go without him. If that makes sense, because the fixtures are just not amazing. And you need to agree with me. Chelsea away, Aston Villa away, Newcastle away. In the next four, three tough away fixtures. Now, again, Chelsea, maybe you can say that it's fine. But Aston Villa away, Newcastle away, these fixtures are not great. And then it's Arsenal at home, which is probably the toughest fixture you can have as an attacker. Now Dango, yes, is going to be back from AFCON. Maybe he's going to get some penalties. Thiago is on penalties, as we know. He can still score. He can still score, obviously, in all these tougher fixtures. And again, if you don't want to play him, it's fine also to bench him if you want against Arsenal, against other teams, and play, I don't know, someone like Rupi Juniors against Brighton away, which in my opinion is a better fixture, or someone like Munoz against Sunderland away. So I would be open to go without Igor Thiago on a wildcard, but the problem is, uh, which striker are you going to go? Ekitike, again, if you want to go on a wild card with Ekitike, who's likely to be back for the fixture against Burnley, because he's likely to be back today when Liverpool are going to play in the FA Cup. I think that's fine. I think that Ekitike is fine. Again, maybe himself also, he's not worth the money. But yeah, against Burnley, much better pick than Thiago against Chelsea, definitely. Mateta also is going to be fine on penalties, 7.6 millions. Other than that, Bowen, maybe if he's going to be on penalties, maybe you can justify it. But Bowen's returns were pretty rubbish in the last few gamings, to be honest with you. And West Ham as a team, I just don't trust them enough. Sesko, nobody's going to go there. Watkins, I think that he's too much money, the same as Ekitike. Raul Jimenez is okay. Mane is okay, but you're not going. If somehow I want to go for, let's say, 4-5-1 formation, something like that, I'm going to go with I don't know, Mane instead of Thiago. Which place I'm going to upgrade in my team? Because yeah, as you can see, I have 2.3 millions, but honestly, I don't have. You could go for someone like Saka, I guess. Now, yeah, I think that I can't afford to do that. Yeah, I can't afford to do that, but I just think that Rice is better value anyway. Other midfielders, expensive midfielders, you have pretty much. You could go for Foden, I guess, instead of Tavernier. No, you can't do that. You could go for Foden instead of Enzo Fernandez, but you know what I mean? Even if you're going to go without Thiagos, that's not going to help you a lot because you don't have a lot of players to invest that money into. So probably I would just have Thiago on a wild card because, yeah, I don't know exactly what to do with the money. Now, let's just say you don't like my draft. You don't want to go for 3 Chelsea players. Then instead of Palmer, you could go for someone like Rogers. That's going to save you a lot of money, obviously. You could go for someone like Bruno Guimaraes instead of Tavernier if you want to play mostly a 3-5-2 formation. Here, you could even go for Foden here. See if you can afford that, obviously. Or you could go for someone like Bruno Guimaraes. Or if you want to go for Tavernier, that's perfectly fine, but again, you don't have a lot of places to upgrade. So yeah, I think that again, probably this video was too long, but I wanted to try to discuss a little bit about other picks because I'm not so sure how much content from me is going to be on this week. As you can hear from my voice, I'm a little bit sick. Sorry for the lack of content, but again, I wanted to touch every player who would possibly you can think of. Hopefully that's going to help be helpful for you a little bit. This is how I would use my wildcard. Again, you don't need to go for like me, but I would like to take this opportunity to go for someone like Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, have a lot of players from Chelsea, from Arsenal, and yeah, pretty much that's it. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, check the memberships if you want to have some nice perks, and if you obviously want to support this channel even more. And I'm going to see you next time. Bye.